Well, first of all, thank you very much for everyone being here today. We greatly appreciate it from our program standpoint, the ability to be covered by all of you and our university and athletic department. It's an important part of what we're going to get accomplished here in the upcoming years, and you'll help us tell that story. And this afternoon, weather permitting, as we said, practice number 10 will be on the way. Extremely pleased with where we're at from late April to where we stepped on the field just over a week ago. Our retention level, the expectations of what we're doing, the job Greg Pazinski did in the offseason in the summer conditioning was outstanding. Our players, in my estimation, look differently. They're moving better, and great things to build from as we go through camp. Another thing, as we continue to work and things, you can see the difference in our timing, our throwing of where we were at, just in what the players were able to do on their own, with the ability to get work done during the summertime, where sometimes as we continue to build our facilities here and do things sometimes where a field house in the wintertime with not the ability to do those things, when you're able to do them in the summertime, our timing and things, those are things in the development in our players and our program are going to be so crucial for future years, and we look forward to those things happening for us as we continue to progress in what we're able to do with the time that the NCAA allows. So with that, I'm sure you have plenty of questions. One other thing I can probably take off maybe from anyone's plate, Joe Licata will start at quarterback this year. For anybody who wants to know anything about quarterbacks and that, he will be our starter, Paul, okay? All right, okay. With that, any other questions?
Lance, just what is your sense? Obviously, a lot of new faces on defense from last year. What do you think about the way the defense is coming together?
I think it's coming together very well. The word that you're going to hear, Mark, through it all is a work in progress. Transitioning right now, guys that have lined up in different spots. Are we where we need to be? And you were there Saturday. No, there's some things, but please keep in mind that. Every day is new installation. Every day something new is coming at them, being installed, and then the offense is installing things too, and the adjustments, all of that is something that is going to take some repetition. And to credit, our offense is throwing a lot of different looks at them. People go about things differently. We've always believed we're going to throw as much at the guys as we can and see what sticks, and then go back and then just keep refining it. So those are things that are happening there. We have some competition in many positions, but what's going to be important for me and our defensive staff especially is that we're able to develop a consistent two deep, that we can continue to go through a length of what our season is, especially the way our schedule unfolds.
A lot of people talk about playing the front four and the front seven in waves, but then push comes to shove and it's the third quarter of a tie game and that doesn't happen. I mean, how committed are you to that, and do you think, will you play 7 deep? Do you envision playing 6 deep? Do you play 8 deep on the D line, or is it, what do you think?
Well, again, there's there'll be some similarities and some differences from where some of us have been in the past. But our past was we rotated, okay? And now maybe during course game when the game gets tight, I think you have to do a better job of analyzing your personnel. And that may be, let's get your run stoppers in more. It may be, early in a game, Mark, many times it's maybe play rotation. Okay, you're just going to roll them as you go through. Sometimes maybe based on personnel, it might be more down and distance. And I think we have to do a good job of utilizing our personnel and where it'll be for down and distance situations. Let's get our run stoppers out there on run downs. And in a close ball game, we may have to do different personnel packages to get some pressure on the quarterback.
Do you feel like you have enough disruptors in the front seven, and who, after 10 days, looks like they might be doing some disrupting?
Well, I think, yes, I do think we have some disruptors. I think, in the inside, I think when you look at, disrupting can be different things, and you can do that by playing your base defense or with movement. But I like what Brandon Crawford's done. Max Parisi, Chris Ford is a young man from the day we first went to a morning conditioning workout to where he is right now in conditioning, strength, confidence, and understanding what we're doing, he's been one of the bigger improvements in our program. So I'm very confident in what we have there. I like the development of Solomon Jackson at defensive end and Damone Harris. I think, we've Miles Nicholas, Randy, and now has been guys that have been banged up a little bit here through camp. So we got to keep them healthy. And then, of course, through our linebacker core, I think the one thing, even though we have switched schemes, I think when you look at some guys that were maybe defensive backs or hybrided guys in there, we've got a lot of body types that are able to run and make plays and be effective in a blitz game.
Coach, when you sort of quantify the progress of the defense, how much of it is a new system for the guys to learn? How much of it is a lot of players who haven't really played a lot trying to learn?
Well, it's probably some of each, Paul, but the latter's probably more for some of you because we weren't here to know how much they all played. So really, they're all new to us, and which is a great really starting point for us because there's not a preconceived of what's been done. Everybody's going to be evaluated on how they fit this system and how they can produce and how they're going to help us win ball games.
Offensively, how impressed have you been with Ron Willoughby and what he can do on the outside?
Well, I think Ron's, just the job that he did do last year, and I went through and one of the things with Ron because he's got height, he's got some of those intangibles, but when you put a clock on him and you look some other things, you kind of look and go, I don't know if that's really what always is a benchmark prototype Division I receiver. But, so I went back and I looked, when were those catches that he had last year? When did those touchdowns occur? What was the down and distance? What was the score? And you really watched him make play after play and come up big for this team. And, once again, we're going to need that. Finding receivers with height and the ability to go get balls and make plays, he has an uncanny way of doing it. And, again, we're going to count on that this season.
Lance, talk a little bit as your offense as a whole. What are the fans going to see? Describe your offense. And the second part of that question is, you want to put as many points on the board as you can, obviously, but is this an offense where you want to put more points up because the defense is relatively a little bit newer with guys and stuff like that? Do you need to put more points up?
Well, that'll be a game by game type of situation, the latter question there. We've talked in this very room with our players, and this is, again, the same philosophy we brought into this from day one. If we give up 48, we better find a way to score 49. If we score 3, we better hold a way to hold them to 2 or 0. And that's just the way we approach it. So it's whatever it's going to take, and that's what makes this game special, and it's such a team game. Some games might be those higher scoring ones, and it can be about matchups, who you match up really well against on one side of the ball or the other, and we have to be prepared. I think what our philosophies and schemes do on each side of the ball gives us enough flexibility that we can line up on a week-to-week basis. A 4-man front we feel is very good. That gives us a base way to stop a run game. We have enough packages within that in the personnel that we have that we can go to multiple different packages to play against spread offenses. And then again, to your first question, I think you're going to see a very multiple offense. I don't know to the for lack of a better term, the novice eye, if you're going to really notice a lot of huge differences maybe from last year, but I think you're going to see a team that's in and out of some no-huddle stuff, some tempo stuff that you'll see. You're going to see multiple personnel groupings. And, we're going to do some stuff where you see a lot of people today in college football and things. And I think it's gone to the NFL even as well. They're what you call married plays. You have run-pass options on a lot of different plays. It's really 2 plays in one. And really it's up to your quarterback to put you in the best situation. And, we feel confident we have the guys to do that.
How important has Joe been in this transition process? A smart kid, a guy who's been here before, to help lead the offense as you go forward?
Well, it's been very important. Unfortunately, he didn't get any reps during the spring, and that's where it really benefited, the backups, Tony Daniel, Chris Merchant, Colin Michael, especially when they were here. But, Joe, everyone in the room knows Joe's story. Just his maturity, his leadership, how he carries himself, his passion for this university and this community, I think has really helped our staff kind of come in and really kind of blend. He's been very open. You know, he watched games last December when we were still in Wisconsin. He really was, you know, very open, and that he enjoyed what he saw. So there wasn't anything that we have to convince anyone to buy into what we're doing. The buy-in on either side of the ball, schematics has been really none that's come across my desk. So those things, and then what starts with your quarterback, and especially an experienced, you know, one in Joe Licata that's been productive. That's very important for us as we head into the opener.
How about, you know, obviously receiver is one of the deeper positions. You know, is this more depth than you're used to having, or what do you think?
Well,
You've got six guys, really, at least.
Yeah,
who,
you never know. I don't know if in this day and anymore with the way things go, is if you ever feel comfortable, you got enough depth. You know, it's you know, sometimes receivers are like pitchers in baseball. You got to have enough because you never know what's happening. And what it does, it continues to give you those flexibility. As long as the thing I like about our guys is that they're not all 5'9", 5'10", and 180 and do this. You know, there's, you know, we talk about Ron Willoughby, Marcus McGill, another type of body type that you can use. Colin Lisa's come in and done an excellent job. The newcomer that was at Alabama, Birmingham last year. Malcolm Robinson. You know, there's a lot of different body types that we can use, and I think that we can put different you know, pressures on people and use them in different ways.
Can you talk a little more about Colin Lisa, his transition, and how he's sort of, you know, seemingly kind of jumped right into things?
Yeah, you know, he's you know what a work ethic he has. You know, he's always around. He's you know, he takes care of his body. Now, he had a setback this summer in our summer conditioning program that put him back a few weeks. But again, he's you know, preventative type of guy. You know, he's in the training room. He's watching film. He's kind of a football junkie. I think we've, you know, he's going to help us in the return game. Not the biggest guy, but he has good quickness, excellent route runner, and I think people will enjoy watching him play.
Can you discuss what Anthony Taylor brings to the table, and then the guys behind him you look to have step up?
Well, obviously a proven 1,000-yard rusher is always great to have, and when you start talking about, you know, this whole group of skilled players is you know, certainly a welcome for us. You know, 3 200-yard game, 200-plus yard games last year again. So that's production. That's you know, staying healthy, being able to go through the long haul. And I think what you've been able to see as well, because of the success at running back here in the past, you have another one that's stepping up into the senior part of his career where, you know, the confidence level, he's helped mentor some of our younger guys. And again, you know, I've always believed, especially being, you know, most of my career's been in the upper Midwest and things like that, where, you know, we know there's going to be times of the year you're going to have to run the football. And I always believe no matter where you're at, if you want to be a championship program, you're going to need to run the football sometime during the year, sometime during the game. And he gives us a good starting option there. Jordan Johnson's a young man who continues to get better as he continues to grow into the position, a little bit bigger back, probably similar, maybe even a little more speed. I think he's another one that's an excellent 1-2 punch. Jonathan Hawkins, the true freshman out of Atlanta, you know, really had a good first week. Got banged up in our scrimmages, kind of slow him down a little bit, but he's still out there practicing. Gary Hosey, redshirt freshman, big back, you know, 240 plus, probably give us another dimension and hopefully somebody that can help us in some short yardage situations. So, you know, again, I think from a depth standpoint, you know, a lot of my answers right now, I'll feel a lot better a year from now, guys, when I understand exactly what the conference has. But I look at what we have right now, and that's what we need to focus on. I feel that's a position of excellent depth.
What's your attitude about redshirting freshmen? I mean, most freshmen probably will get redshirted. Would you agree with that, or what do you think?
Well, I don't know. It's case by case and by position. You know, the uniqueness, Mark, to that answer is for the last 8 years of my career, I haven't been involved in redshirting. Okay, so it's kind of coming back to it. And with that is, you know, it's, you know, we have to do what we can. It's a twofold thing. One, we have to do what's best that we can find a way to put ourselves in a position to win football games and find a way to win the Eastern Division, okay? At the same time, we have to build a consistent program for the future as well, and that's the balancing act. But with that as well, we will always continue to look to upgrade ourselves in recruiting each and every year, and through competition, that'll always be there. If our younger players can play enough snaps that it warrants them to get on the field and get experience, then they're going to play. If it's one of those situations where it's not, then we'll try to save the year for them. But again, it's position by position and case by case.
On offense, Hawkins and Emmanuel Reed just physically out there look like two guys who are not, frail freshmen. Do you think those are two guys who could wind up, certainly play?
Again, at running back, it's one guy, and we mentioned, Hawkins was one of the four I mentioned, so where Emmanuel is, he gives us some quickness. Could he help us in the return game? Those are things we've got to continue to evaluate through camp. But, again, that's, really been extremely pleased with this incoming group of newcomers, and we feel good about them and what they'll add to this program for years. So again, we'll have to see how that all plays out.
What has this experience been like for you, heading into your first season, getting through the spring, halfway through camp now? What has it been like for you?
Oh, it's been exciting. Sometimes you got to pinch yourself to see if it's real. Again, very, very grateful for the opportunity that Danny White and the administration here has given me. Yet at the same time that you're just focused on trying to do what's best here for our program and make this university and community proud of what we're able to do. So very fortunate to have a group of assistant coaches and that are passionate about what they're doing. They fit extremely well into the community. They're happy here, and they love what they're doing. And you put all that together with the support that we have throughout our department and everything, it's exciting. And then it's our goal that we're going to make this community proud, and this is a place where people want to be on Saturdays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays or Thursdays, whatever night they have us play.
Have you been able to get any kind of a feel for the conference and your opponents? Obviously not having seen any of them with your own eyes, but I mean, do you have some kind of a sense of what the MAC is all about?
A little bit. I cautiously look at that. There's, some people probably think I should, but at the same time, there's not like trades or waiver wires or anything like that anyway. So if we just focus on what we're going to do and get better each and every day, I think that's what we need to continue to strive on and look at it. But as we get through, we start getting film of this year, we'll start taking a look at it. Had a couple different opportunities to interact with coaches in the league and a couple guys that I've known already. So there's some things that we know about. Just off our staff, Chris Simpson was at Eastern Michigan, so he's kind of a good sounding board sometimes on some things. We're close at the last stop to DeKalb, and one of our former staff members was hired there a year ago. So there's some things that we are aware of, but much like everything here, it'll be an educational process for all of us.
Anything else for Coach? Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here.